Welcome back to the Think Changer. Each morning when you rise, you're standing at a crossroads. One direction pulls you toward the familiar version of yourself, exhausted, scattered, unsure, trapped in patterns that no longer align with your calling. The other direction leads toward the person you're destined to become, more resilient, more grounded, more centered, more connected to your faith. The decision between these two directions happens the instant your eyes open. That's where the rebuilding process starts. Rebuilding yourself isn't a one-time event that happens after life shatters you. It's something you must commit to each and every day. Because each day brings fresh challenges, fresh distractions, fresh whispers trying to drag you back into the familiarity of your former self. And if you don't actively rebuild, life will chip away at you gradually, piece by piece. You are not complete. You are a masterpiece still being crafted. You are under construction by the Creator Himself, and the only way to respect that sacred work is to rebuild, improve, and refresh yourself every single day you're given breath. When you commit to rebuilding, you're declaring, "My history will not imprison me." You're declaring, "My setbacks will not write my final story." You're declaring, "My transformation is still unfolding. I'm still being molded." Too many people spend their entire existence waiting for ideal circumstances to evolve. They convince themselves, once I have financial security, I'll focus on growth. Once I'm more mature, I'll prioritize inner peace. Once I've recovered, I'll learn to trust again. But here's the reality. There will never be flawless conditions for rebuilding. The ideal moment is now. The ideal day is today. The ideal opportunity is this very instant. Rebuilding doesn't require dramatic transformations. It begins with simple acts of self-honor. It begins with extending grace to yourself for yesterday's ignorance. It begins with selecting discipline over convenience, tranquility over turmoil, and faith over fear. You rebuild yourself each day when you refuse to invest energy into things that deplete your spirit. You rebuild when you choose gentleness over resentment. You rebuild when you stand after stumbling, not because it's simple, but because it's essential. Every dawn is the Creator whispering, "You still have opportunity." And as long as air fills your lungs, you possess the ability to start fresh. Rebuilding isn't a finish line. It's a daily commitment. Every single morning you determine who you'll become, not through declarations, but through actions. You determine whether you'll operate from your wounds or from your mission. Whether you'll react with fury or respond with understanding, whether you'll grip onto grudges or release them for serenity. You rebuild yourself each time you choose to elevate above circumstances, when you refuse to let others dictate your emotional state, when you stop engaging with narrow-minded individuals who are determined to twist your words, when you safeguard your tranquility and allow stillness to communicate for you. That is how you reconstruct your mind, by nourishing it with truth and depriving it of toxicity. Because your mind is the bedrock of your existence, and if your thoughts are fragile, your entire structure will crumble. The initial step in daily rebuilding is reconstructing your thought patterns. Your thoughts are seeds, and every thought you cultivate blossoms into your lived experience. If you continuously cultivate doubt, you'll reap anxiety. If you continuously cultivate hatred, you'll reap sourness. But if you cultivate trust, endurance, and compassion, you'll reap contentment. Each morning, examine your thoughts with the same attention you give your appearance. Question yourself, what's occupying my mind today? Because the manner in which you think shapes the manner in which you exist. When destructive thoughts emerge, challenge them. Don't permit them to construct barriers within your consciousness. Affirm to yourself, I am greater than my errors. I am greater than my history. I am greater than others' perceptions of me. Speak it until it becomes your truth. Because rebuilding originates in your convictions. If you accept that you are shattered, you will exist shattered. If you accept that you are mending, you will exist mending. Belief is the primary instrument in the rebuilding journey. Once your mind starts to mend, you must reconstruct your routines. Because your routines are the materials that construct your renewed existence. You cannot erect a sturdy home with crumbling materials. You cannot reconstruct your life while recycling the same behaviors that demolished the previous one. Begin modestly. Rise earlier than yesterday. Commune with God before reaching for your device. Exercise your body, even if it's merely a brief stroll. Nourish your spirit, even if it's just several paragraphs of wisdom or a passage from sacred text. Develop your self-control like a muscle, one exercise at a time. Each time you select the challenging option over the effortless one, you fortify your base. Self-control is the connection between your current self and your envisioned self. Without it, your reconstruction will falter. And then reconstruct your integrity. Because rebuilding yourself extends beyond appearance or accomplishments. It concerns who you are when no eyes are watching. Your integrity is the unseen framework that supports everything else. Be truthful. Be compassionate. Be dependable. When you give your word, honor it. When you err, acknowledge it. When someone wounds you, pardon them. Not because they've earned it, but because your serenity has earned it. You reconstruct yourself by walking with honor, even when it goes unrecognized. Because genuine strength doesn't proclaim itself. It perseveres quietly. Each day, existence will challenge you. Individuals will challenge your tolerance. Circumstances will challenge your belief. Your integrity is what enables you to overcome those challenges. Sometimes the Creator will permit everything to unravel, not to discipline you, but to reconstruct you on firmer soil. The individuals who departed needed to depart. The opportunities that vanished needed to vanish. The suffering you endured needed to occur, because without it, you would never have discovered what you're capable of enduring. The divine permits breaking before rebuilding. He eliminates what's fragile, what's artificial, what's restraining you, so that what endures is authentic, robust, and immovable. So if your existence feels like it's disintegrating, understand this. It's not the conclusion. It's the reconstruction. You are being restructured, not demolished. You are being refreshed, not discarded. You are being reconstructed into something magnificent. Each day you rebuild, you will shed fragments of your former self. That's acceptable. That's how metamorphosis operates. You'll cease justifying yourself to individuals determined to misinterpret you. You'll cease attempting to squeeze into spaces where your essence doesn't fit. Rebuilding signifies outgrowing, and outgrowing is uncomfortable. But discomfort is evidence that you're advancing. You cannot transport your former self into your new chapter. You cannot transport old fury into a serene existence. You cannot transport old arrogance into a modest heart. Release it. Each morning upon waking, declare to yourself, I liberate what no longer benefits my essence. I am prepared to reconstruct. You reconstruct yourself daily through stillness. In a loud world that celebrates distraction, stillness is your refuge. In stillness, you perceive your authentic voice. In stillness, you recall what truly matters. In stillness, you can finally hear the divine. So carve out moments throughout your day to pause, breathe, and contemplate. When you decelerate, understanding surfaces. When you quiet the noise, wisdom emerges. And when wisdom emerges, you begin to reconstruct with insight rather than impulse. Don't hurry your reconstruction. Everything magnificent requires time. You cannot sow a seed today and anticipate a forest tomorrow. Tolerance is integral to the journey. The Creator reconstructs you in seasons, not in seconds. As you reconstruct, be tender with yourself. Don't despise the portions of you that still require restoration. Don't criticize yourself for falling short. You're reconstructing something precious, your essence. And every structure mid-construction appears chaotic before it becomes magnificent. Sometimes you'll sense you're not advancing. You'll wonder whether all this exertion is worthwhile. You'll measure yourself against individuals who appear further along. But recall, their path is not your path. Their rhythm is not your rhythm. Reconstructing yourself daily means concentrating on your own lane, your own evolution, your own purpose. Comparison will terminate your advancement faster than failure ever could. Remain fixated on your design. Remain devoted to your process. You'll observe as you reconstruct that the things you once pursued will begin pursuing you. Tranquility will discover you. Connection will discover you. Possibilities will discover you. Because the cosmos harmonizes itself with those who exist in authenticity. You don't need to plead for what's intended for you. You simply need to transform into the individual who's prepared to accept it. Reconstruct yourself until your tranquility becomes your authority, until your stillness becomes your defense, until your gentleness becomes your might, until your self-control becomes your way of living. That's what daily reconstruction accomplishes. It converts suffering into tolerance, disorder into understanding, and fragility into insight. There will be days when you feel like surrendering, days when your advancement feels invisible, days when your belief feels thin. Those are the days you must reconstruct most fervently, because that's when most individuals abandon the process. And abandoning resets everything you've constructed. You don't need to reconstruct flawlessly. You just need to reconstruct faithfully. Even if you fragment, reconstruct again. Even if you stumble today, reconstruct tomorrow. Even if you question yourself, reconstruct regardless. Each time you choose to commence again, you are reinforcing your spirit. Consistency surpasses perfection. Faithfulness surpasses velocity. And as you persist in reconstructing, something remarkable unfolds. You begin to identify the individual in the mirror again, not the fractured version, but the reborn one. You start to move differently. You start to communicate differently. You start to emanate tranquility in your presence. Those around you will perceive it. They'll notice the radiance, the composure, the assurance, but they won't comprehend it, because they didn't witness the reconstruction. They didn't witness the evenings you prayed through weeping. They didn't witness the mornings you compelled yourself to rise when everything within you urged surrender. They observe the outcomes, but they're unaware of the reconstruction behind it. And that's acceptable, because reconstruction is between you and the divine. You don't owe the world your journey. You owe yourself your advancement. Each day that you reconstruct, you're demonstrating something. That you are not defined by what fractured you. That you are not your errors. That you are not your defeats. You are a creation perpetually being refined by grace. Each morning, remind yourself, I am reconstructing. Reconstructing tranquility. Reconstructing belief. Reconstructing resilience. Reconstructing meaning. When you exist like that, every dawn becomes sacred. Because you're no longer merely enduring days. You're sculpting your destiny one day at a time. Reconstructing yourself daily is the ultimate form of self-respect. It's communicating to yourself, I merit more than what I accepted. It's honoring your evolution, guarding your vitality, and cherishing yourself enough to begin fresh. And the magnificent aspect of reconstruction is this. You never regress to who you were. You emerge as something renewed. You don't return to your former baseline. You ascend to a higher standard. You don't reconstruct to impress. You reconstruct to improve. So persist in reconstructing. When it's arduous, when it's isolated, when it's gradual, when it's unseen, because someday the version of you that you envisioned will be standing precisely where you are, smiling, thankful, and unshakable. So from this day forward, make this your proclamation. I comprehend now. The individual I'm evolving into is worth reconstructing for. Each day is a construction site for your essence. Each day is another opportunity to surpass yesterday. Each day is a foundation stone in your destiny's structure. Continue constructing. Continue ascending. Continue trusting. You are not complete yet. You are being reconstructed by the hands of purpose. And when you reconstruct yourself daily, no tempest can demolish you. No criticism can destabilize you. And no defeat can characterize you. You are more resilient than you realize. You are more insightful than you acknowledge. And you are destined for greater than you envision. So rise again tomorrow, not as who you were, but as who you're becoming. Because the Creator is not finished with you yet. You are under divine construction. Reconstruct yourself every day and observe your entire existence transform. Foundation by foundation, moment by moment, prayer by prayer. Thank you for watching. If this message moved you, please like, share, and subscribe to The Think Changer for more uplifting content. And remember, no matter where you find yourself in life, you possess the power to reshape your future. See you in the next video.